In 6 days, his garage would be broken into. In 7, the chest would disappear. In 9, he would understand that the most dangerous part of this story wasn't the sea or the coins, it was the people he trusted, but right now he didn't know any of that. He was just standing on an old boat in the middle of gray water, pulling up a net that suddenly felt far too heavy for an ordinary morning. Everything had started like it always did. Alarm at 4:40 a.m., coffee that no longer worked, cold air, sticky fog, and an engine that only started on the second try. He had been fishing these waters for over 20 years, going out even when others stayed home. It wasn't a hobby or romance, it was routine, almost instinct. He knew this stretch of water as well as his own hands. He knew where the sand was, where the rocks were, where nets sometimes caught trash. So when the net sank too smoothly, he didn't think much of it at first. Then he felt resistance, not a sharp tug, not the movement of fish, but a dull, heavy weight, like something that didn't want to leave the bottom. He gave the engine more throttle, the boat jerked, the net tightened, and in that moment a strange feeling hit him, like he was doing something he shouldn't be doing. When the first dark corner broke the surface, he cursed. When the second appeared, he shut off the engine. A chest was slowly rising out of the water, wooden, reinforced with iron, so old that its shape looked wrong, as if it didn't belong to this time. For several seconds he just stared, motionless, while the boat gently rocked. Chests exist in movies, in books, in stories told to children. In real life, they don't rise from the sea at dawn. He pulled it closer, trying not to make noise, as if someone might hear. The chest was heavy. Too heavy to be empty. That much was immediately clear. He covered it with a tarp without opening it. Why, he wouldn't be able to explain later. Instinct, maybe. Fear. The ride back felt longer than usual. The fog had lifted, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. He kept glancing over his shoulder even though there was nothing but water and seagulls. At home, he rolled the boat in, closed the gates, and dragged the chest into the garage. He shoved it into the far corner, behind old crates, nets, and a broken chair. Only when night fell and the street went quiet did he return with a flashlight and tools. The lock didn't give easily. The metal screeched so loudly that he froze, listening. When the lid finally opened, he sat down on the cold concrete. Inside were coins, many of them. They didn't shine or sparkle. Instead, they looked heavy, dark, almost grim. Strange symbols covered them, ones he had never seen before. He picked one up and immediately felt its weight. And these weren't souvenirs, this was something real. He began counting slowly, carefully, moving each coin aside. He counted them once, then stopped and started again, then a third time, not because he doubted himself, but because he understood he would need this number. When he finished, he memorized it forever. He closed the chest, covered it with the tarp, and turned off the light. That night, he barely slept, not from excitement, but from the feeling that, along with the chest, he had pulled something to the surface that was never meant to be found. For 3 days, the chest stayed in the garage, silent and heavy, like it was listening. He didn't touch it. He didn't open it again. He went fishing as usual, came back as usual, waved to neighbors, nodded at passing cars, and carried a secret so large it made everything else feel fake. The number of coins kept replaying in his head, precise and unchanging, like a code burned into memory. On the 4th evening, he made his first mistake. It didn't feel like a mistake at the time. It felt harmless. He met his friends the way he always did. Same place, same cheap beer, same jokes recycled for years. These were men he had known most of his life. They had fixed engines together, covered for each other's mistakes, borrowed money, and paid it back. Trust wasn't something he questioned around them. Someone asked why he looked tired. Another joked that he smelled like the sea more than usual. He laughed, took a sip, and without planning to, said it. Not everything, just enough. He told them he had pulled something strange from the water, old, heavy. He said it was in his garage. He didn't say treasure, he didn't say coins, but silence fell anyway, thick and sudden. Someone laughed it off. Someone asked a casual question that wasn't casual at all. He felt it then, a shift, like a door had cracked open. That night he locked the garage twice, then went back and checked it again. Sleep didn't come easily. Sometime after midnight, a sound pulled him out of half dreams, metal against metal, distant but wrong. He sat up, listening. Nothing. He told himself it was imagination. By morning, the garage door was bent, the lock was gone, the corner was empty, the chest had vanished. For a moment, his body refused to react. No anger, no panic, just a hollow stillness. Then it hit him all at once. He didn't call the police. He didn't shout. He stood there, staring at the bare concrete, replaying every word he had said the night before. He knew who had done it. And more importantly, he knew exactly what they had taken. Because he had counted every coin, that number anchored him. It turned fear into something sharper. He started calling. One friend didn't answer. Another sounded nervous. A third laughed too quickly and said he didn't know anything. By evening, the truth surfaced in fragments, whispers, half confessions. They had come at night, broke in fast, took the chest, panicked, didn't know what to do with it. And then one of them, the quiet one, the one who drank less and talked less, called him back. His voice was low, careful. He said he hadn't touched the coins. He said this had gone too far. And then he said the words that changed everything. I know where they hid it. They met after dark, far from the docks. No handshakes, no jokes, just directions, whispered like instructions for a crime already in progress. An abandoned shed near the old road, hidden under boards and tarp. He drove there with his heart pounding so hard it blurred his vision. When he lifted the cover and saw the chest again, intact but scuffed, relief hit first, followed immediately by dread. He opened it right there, hands shaking, counted fast, then slower, then again. The number was wrong, not by much, just a few coins, but enough to prove what he already knew. Someone had taken from him, someone he had trusted. He closed the lid, loaded the chest, and drove away without looking back. That night, he didn't sleep at all because now the secret was heavier than before, and this time it wasn't just about what he had found, it was about who knew. After that night, he stopped talking, not just about the chest, about everything. He avoided his friends, changed his routine, locked the garage like it held something alive. The missing coin stayed in his mind, a quiet reminder that trust had a price. He knew better than to rush. Selling something like this wasn't about finding a buyer, it was about finding the right one, someone who wouldn't ask questions, someone who understood value and discretion. Through a chain of careful calls and secondhand introductions, he reached a private collector, the kind who spoke softly and never met in public places. They agreed to see the chest. No photos, no messages, just a time and a location. The meeting took place in a warehouse near the outskirts of the city, empty except for a single table and a scale. The collector didn't smile when he saw the coins. He didn't look surprised. He examined them slowly, methodically, weighing a few in his hand, nodding once. He said they were real, old, rare, and worth a lot of money. Then he named the price, $400,000. The number hung in the air, unreal and heavy. They didn't shake hands. They didn't celebrate. Papers were signed, cashier's transfers arranged, and just like that, the chest was no longer his. When he left the warehouse, the night felt different, lighter but colder. And he never confronted his friends, never asked about the missing coins. He already knew the answer. Some things once broken stay broken. The sea went back to being just the sea. The garage became just a garage, but sometimes early in the morning when the fog rolled in thick and quiet, he would think about the weight of that net and how one ordinary pull had changed everything. The money arrived quietly, no celebration, no sudden freedom, just numbers on a screen that didn't erase what had already happened. He paid off debts, repaired the boat, replaced the garage door, and went back to the same mornings he had always known. From the outside, nothing changed, but the dock felt smaller. The silence between people felt louder. He noticed how conversations stopped when he walked in, or maybe he only imagined it. Old friends faded out of his life without arguments or explanations, like he didn't chase them. The one who had warned him, the one who told him where the chest was hidden, disappeared too, not because of anger, but because some truths don't survive daylight. The missing coins were never mentioned again, but they stayed with him in other ways, and how carefully he spoke, and how rarely he shared anything personal, and how trust now felt like something fragile and expensive. Money had closed the deal, but it hadn't rewritten the story. The chest was gone, yet its weight remained. Years later, people still asked him if the story was true. He always answered the same way. A shrug, a half smile, a vague sentence about pulling something strange from the sea once. The ocean had returned to its quiet rhythm, giving and taking without explanations. But sometimes, before sunrise, when the water was flat and the air was heavy with fog, he would think about how easily a life could shift. Not because of greed, not because of ambition, but because of one careless sentence said to the wrong people at the wrong time. The sea never asked for anything back. People did, and that, he understood too late, was the real cost of the chest. What would you do if your friend found a chest worth almost $500,000? Write your answer in the comments.